A sense of well-being is interconnected with our surroundings, and intuitive interiors are a crucial part of the hospitality experience. Be it in an airport or a cinema, design is a critical ingredient for a warm welcome. Facing a fight to attract audiences blessed with numerous streaming and rental options, movie theatres need to be experientially different if they're to survive. Interior designer Aphrodite Kraza was tasked with breathing new life into the UK's iconic Curzon cinemas, starting with their flagship London venue in Victoria. Creating an incentive to stay before, after, or even in lieu of the film is central to the Curzon's relationship with today's cinemagoer. By removing the box office, Kraza converted the uninviting entrance into an open and democratic multi-use space.
We wanted to really communicate that this is a cinema, it's not another bar, it's not another coffee shop, and get also to use the communal spaces to do a lot more than just being spaces where people queue to buy tickets, because traditionally cinema communal spaces were designed to be very transitional type of places where you would spend very, very little time. They were designed with the most uninviting type of furniture, so people get processed very quickly. So when we designed that, we very much took that approach that it should be a culture hub, it should be a space that can be used 24/7, not just at night time.
Echoes of the cinema's iconic heritage remain, with red curtains, Art Deco styling, and thoughtful lighting and layering also contribute to a richer experience.
As you go deeper and deeper into the building, the light levels slowly drop. The reason, we did that is for me, there's nothing worse than coming out of this very, very dark screening room and you've been in kind of a cocoon in a womb for 2 hours, and then you come out and suddenly you're faced with extremely bright lights and adverts and, loud bars and popcorn and all of that. And to me, this is like the worst experience you can have. So it was the intention right from the beginning to make that transition as smooth as possible, so people literally come stage by stage into the real world from this very, very beautiful world of movies.
With the second commission in Canterbury, Kraza played with the cinematic language in a different way, responding to the design cues of the 1890s warehouse conversion.
We knew from the beginning, when we started working with Curzon, that no Curzon cinema would be the same as another Curzon cinema. And we thought, rather than trying to create this very classic, very elegant type of experience, we should look at the building itself. And because it's quite cozy and small, we try to replicate almost like a home cinema idea. So the place feels very home-like. It's using a lot of very natural materials, almost the way you would design a home rather than a public space. It's using a lot of very traditional materials which are local to Canterbury. So we use these very beautiful brick floors and walls which are local. The herringbone pattern. We use the same herringbone pattern for oak floors as well. We've got this massive library feature. We've got little different pockets of areas where people can congregate that feel almost like your lounge or your kitchen table. Really celebrating the communal part of the cinema rather than try to minimize it. It goes back to this place being a cultural hub, but at the same time, everything revolves around that idea of being a true cinephile and truly enjoying watching a movie in the best possible environment, rather than it becoming something else and something, which is not pure anymore.
Airports are profoundly inhospitable places, but in the hands of London design firm Studio Ilsa, the lounge format has been moved out of airportland limbo into a comfortable place that offers travellers a proper respite from life on the road. Ilsa Crawford's reputation has been forged on her ability to create enveloping spaces that people fall in love with, prompting Cathay Pacific to commission her design studio to reimagine their lounges, premiering with Haneda Airport in Tokyo.
Home, I think, is a state of mind, and actually I think in the digital age we need to feel at home in public space. And the separation of those two places into one feeling rather institutional and one being the place where you can retreat is, I think, very old-fashioned. To make people feel welcome in whatever domain you're in, I think, is critical today.
To provide warmth and a sense of humanity that frequent flyers so clearly crave, Crawford wanted the space to feel like a properly furnished room with real materials that age beautifully and pieces that will last.
You always have the need for it to be robust. I mean, it's a lounge, it's not an artwork. So that obviously has to be paramount. But that doesn't mean that just because it has to be functional, it has to look functional. So we went for limestone, that's a lovely thing, but it has tactility, it's not highly shined. We don't go for polish. We feel that matte, tactile, perfect, imperfect, if you like, surfaces are just more appealing. Then on top of that, the layers of tactility, the contrasts of hot and cold, rough and smooth, awake the senses. So we've got real wood, we've got cherry wood panelling, we have mohair velvet, which is a robust fabric with longevity and warmth, leather, green tile in the noodle bar, brass on the bar. So materials that speak to you, because materials are, they do carry hidden messages. We studied people in the lounges a lot, and how they sat, how long they sat for, where they sat, and there were some interesting conclusions. One is that the sofa today is pretty much a pointless piece of furniture. These days everybody's in their digital bubble, so giving people this sort of physical space that allows them to sort of operate, but yet within a human, comfortable context. We're very interested in light and materiality because those two things probably affect our mental well-being more than any other. It can give you great pleasure, it can create intimacy, it can shape space, or it can be positively hostile. And so we really focused on how to make sure that the light was there to light the people, not the space. As more people travel more, it's more and more important to understand what makes people feel safe, feel like they belong, feel grounded, if you like, for that last moment that you are on the ground, and what makes them feel special in that context.